that are getting hand heavy with all of the gear, you can feel free to just set things on top of the bag. I'll organize it after I send you guys to your cars. I know some of this stuff can be a little heavy on the hands.
Near the house with the glasses.
Well, that's for everybody.
There were 5 children.
So I'm going to record Alexander.
I don't know if they had a big fire with 500 people.
What do you see, Alexander? Alexander, what do you see? What do you see?
Michael couldn't catch the words from the radio.
I can.
Very well. You want to try to listen, Mom?
No.
Okay. What have you got now, Jimmy?
Any letters popping up on there at all?
Give a K. Yes, you can.
Can't find out. Actually, just see if it kind of hurts.
What?
Come here, Michael.
Well, you can do it after, man.
You can do it after? Well, I figure right now while we have the next 2 minutes.
What's the photo?
Just stand here.
Well, hurry up then. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's what you actually tell it. We're going to take it. That's pretty awesome. And he's shown up for me in the past, but never with a direct stomach.
Right, yeah.
Should we walk close to the cemetery?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
First time.
We need to go.
Cemetery.
Can we go over there?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to the front if you want to.
Ella,
You just have to exit block.
he said we can walk to the front of that building. I'm gonna come here with me. Are we on?
Maybe we can get our photo here with the church in the back there.
So how? No, we need to get over there.
Come stand here, Michael.
That's a cool church. That's what I do with my watch.
Oh, hey.
Come on.
Hey.
Let's go over there, huh? See, we see a ghost. Alexander. Alexander, listen to your thing.
My thing is loud.
How did we get over there? So what it is?
I got football in September.
What?
Football in September.
I don't know what that means.
September is a good.
What's that mean then?
The reason why you guys are on this ghost tour tonight is because so many people flock to Charleston to see the paranormal. This is the first ghost comic camera. It's the first verified picture. So, as they're coming,
I saw it go over here. Look at this window. Huh?
I need to like turn the song. I need to listen.
Oh, here, look. Here, do you want to go in the other building? Wait, hold on. Wait.
Go.
Wait for Mom. Come here. I don't know what we'll listen. Have to listen to. Huh? kind of annoying, isn't it? Do you want to go one time in front of the other building? You said that one and out. You said we can go in front. Oop, excuse me. What? What? Do you see any ghosts?
No.
This one is still relatively new. I had it for a few months. The first week I had it, I'm packing things up and the person hands it back to me and it says pirate, like plain as day. The cool thing was that it was next to the thermal imaging camera, so we had the audio from it. So I was like, oh, that's super cool. Any other words coming up on yours?
Just the current word, memories, medication.
I had memories earlier too.
So remember, we're still close to Philadelphia Alley, where we talked about the doctor. You have match, that's a dual, and you have like you said, medicine or medication.
Yeah.
So we still have a doctory term.
Memories and suffer like around the same time too. I thought those are both pretty profound.
Yeah, they are. They're just not specific.
Yeah, those things are very general. But
yeah, very big.
Here also, just a minute ago when we walked over there, I heard September. I don't know any really.
So we did get the term Sweet Annie on the other spirit box. She said she heard it loud and clear.
Wow. Sweet.
We had one name earlier. What was that one? It was started with an S.
Oh, yeah.
She has Sarah as well.
Shelley's or something like that.
Now it's all red.
Yeah, it's just part of the aesthetic. It's part of the...
Can you see the history?
Advocate.
What do you
Oh,
think?
yeah,
Go-
yeah.
go
The
for it.
history is here.
What?
I don't know.
What's he saying, mate? Oh, someone don't stop. Listen. Don't move around. Okay. Can you listen? Can you stop moving around? No. Come on down a little bit. What? What she said?
We might be picking up on some other stuff. Oh, well, they did say they have the one football, but we have,
No, I think someone.
Stadium.
You can't play the game.
Because that was, remember the first one, he said the football player at the
Yeah. But
church
that
over
was
there. I
far
didn't even think
back.
about that. But yeah, well, it was earlier. I heard when I was over there too. I heard football, and then she just got stadium. So I didn't remember, but at the beginning he said something about the
Here's the
football.
funny thing. We don't know where Big John is buried. It is a possibility that he's close by. And he was born in September and he died in September. So we heard September.
Well, that was actually the full phrase of like football in September.
Yeah.
And then she said she just got stadium. So
Interesting. And I've looked into where he's buried. I can't find it. Like I've dug and dug. Like he's a celebrity around town, so he probably wanted to not be known where he was at. You know, to not be desecrated in any way. So it's a good possibility he's down here because the funeral home that took care of him is downtown. So he might be nearby. We just don't know. And he's from here. So if he is in St. Philip's, he's going to be on that side.
yeah, I didn't even think about the guy at the beginning. I just thought, oh, football in September. Like maybe there's a game coming up.
No, I mean, you gave me 3 clues that are definitely relative to Big John specifically, but we don't have his name or the number. So, if we get 5 or 23, he was born on the 5th and died on the 23rd. Or vice versa. But I know it's 5 or 23.
He's gonna wrap things up too. Like he did. He gave his tool back. He said he gave his tool
I've never
back
seen
to
anybody
wrap
do that.
things up.
Like,
It's got an antenna.
yeah. Do you get better reception that way? No. It's just fun to do.
I got
Yeah.
70. 70? 70. She got 70 apparently.
7.
I had 70 earlier too.
She had 72.
Yeah, she has 70
Earlier.
on her
270.
word list, yeah.
Maybe it's the age.
Heard anything out of it?
But I mean, inappropriate.
Robyn, you got anything else in your Alright.
Yeah,
Any
I know.
other crazy numbers, colors that I need to know about? I haven't got any. So I'm going to call this a miss, other than some of the weird clues that we came out of the other group. So let's go over to the walls.
Oh, I got some nice 80s music for a second. Just half a second.
Whenever you're on a sidewalk, it's
That is pretty weird though, the football is.
recording. So it was on the way to the first alley.
Yeah, I think the first walk. What's up, buddy? I don't like
Yeah.
people are talking.
That's a subliminal message because it's your own name. So you're my name on there. Alright, so did everybody notice that there was all kinds of tours moving all over and next one over there? There's a reason for it. We're going to go through it. You got anything on yours? Okay, that's about natural. Alright, so welcome to Philadelphia Alley. This is kind of a staple for other ghost tours. We're going to probably see some of those other tours start to cut through. We're just going to part the seas like what we did for the pedicab. Again, that was just a weird anomaly by itself. Who knows if he was a ghost or not. Was he a ghost? We're going to count that? Sweet. It's 5 points. 5 points Gryffindor, right? So, so this place used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. Every ghost tour comes down here because it's a staple, right? We can all prove that this duel actually occurred that we talk about. However, I'm going to be telling you this story a little bit differently because you're ghost hunting. You guys need different details than the campfire ghost story. So let's get into it. Doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out. Yes, it's story time. Have a seat if you'd like. She has an attorney that's helping out with all of the cash flow, and he thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of this doctor. He's just after your money. So Dr. Ladd, to prove that he's not after her cash, moves to Charleston. And as he's coming into town, a coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a good start to his stay here. Somebody was walking by. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI shows up here even before I had the Ouija board device on other spirit boxes. But it is a relevant clue to two different people. We need a secondary clue to verify it. Anyway, he tells the doctor, I know this guy, he's going to try to kill you, don't go in there. I got some friends at 59 Church Street, you can rent a room from them and you'll be good to go. So Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer and they become friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving the point that he's not after Amanda's money, which means Amanda's moving down soon so they can get married. Dr. Ladd becomes known as the whistling doctor because he literally whistled all the time. This is the late 1700s where that was a jovial thing to do. So there is, obviously you can see where the ghost story part of this is about the whistling, right? But let's get back to Dr. Ladd and Ralph. They go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's just the way the hierarchy works in Charleston at the time. On the way home, they go see Richard III, but they're talking about this new actress that was in the play. Dr. Ladd thought she was great, and Ralph not so much. They start arguing, and then Ralph starts insulting Amanda, the doctor's fiancée, back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph has a lot of friends here. So he goes to his friends at the newspaper, he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the newspaper ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. They come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. But Ralph has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap on Dr. Ladd, and he drops to the ground. His friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You got to remember, he's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed this out himself. So the campfire ghost story part of this is that as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. I used to take my tours all the way through here where we would be using the voice recorder. And for the past year, I just started coming back into this little end again because I was telling the story over there on that white building where you guys would all line up and film it from there, but I've been kind of sneaking in because I pissed off the neighbor at the end. I'm getting to that. But I want you to keep in mind, if you're going to walk through this alley later on without me and use your voice recorders from your phones to listen to it later, keep in mind every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street is going to throw a whistle down the alley. It's just what we do. I do it every single night, especially since I got booted out of here. So I do have some whistles that I can't debunk, but I also have a lot of fake ones because that's what happens in this alley. You all hear how quiet it is? I think you said something about along the way here, how creepy and spooky it was as we were cutting through the lot. We're only 2.5 blocks away from East Bay Street, and it is still busy down there. You can't hear the traffic down there even in a busy Saturday afternoon. So again, it's easy to capture the whistles down here when they do occur. The funny thing for us is we're listening to radio stations. Do you know how many times I capture a whistle in a song? So Guns N' Roses' Patience, Maroon 5's Moves Like Jagger, it's in a commercial, or we just get it by itself in a commercial or something. It's the weirdest thing. I've been capturing more and more of them the past few months. It's almost like Dr. Ladd's getting used to how we're working out here. Here's how I got booted out. This is the fun part. This is what everybody wants to know. I used to take my tour all the way through, like I said, because at the end of this alley are bricks. They're sun-dried bricks because they're older than these, because this end was cut off at one point. So those bricks are sun-dried from slave children. There's a full handprint on the other side and a brick of basically a slave child's handprint and fingerprint swipes on the other side. So we're going to let this group kind of pass through. I don't know if this is another tour, if this is just random people or neighbors that I don't want to piss off again. So, how's it going, everybody?
Hello.
Don't stop the laughter on our account.
We're not people.
We had a ghost pedicab come by earlier. It was cool. So, of course, you guys figured out that I'm all about the history by now, so that's why I would take those folks down there. But everybody wants to try to get a reading out of that brick down there, especially the one with the handprint. And I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. But November 26th of 2020, yes, very specific date, my entire group of 10 decided that they're going to huddle around that brick and try to get a reading. I'm trying to shoo them along because it's outside the dining room window of a beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. And that gentleman had enough of my group stopping outside his dining room window. He came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night and Dad's getting yelled at. So we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I worked in retail management for over 20 years. You can imagine why I was never going to work another Thanksgiving in my life. So I did not have a tour that day. But November 28th, I got a phone call. It's Black Friday. From the tourism office of Charleston asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my tour. I decide it's not fair for my group of 10 to try to work around 20 to 60 people that are normally down here at the time that I'm normally here. So I told my team, I don't believe the story we're going to go to next, but we're going to see what happens and kind of wing it. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person, but we're going to be discussing pirates. And they were all kind of like, woohoo, but somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box before we left. So I was like, all right. I did not tell them we were going to be discussing the female pirate Anne Bonny. I was like, oh shit, maybe we actually got something going on. We get down there, I told a little bit I did know about pirates, not super excited about it, and somebody else hears the number 300, and I didn't know what that meant until I did the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial, something I didn't know at the time. So I keep taking you all back there in hopes that we're going to continue to find more clues. And yes, we've been finding more and more, but I will warn you, it is a hit or miss location. So we're either going to have a shit ton going on or nothing. It's one of those types of spaces. Worst case scenario is you learn a whole hell of a lot about pirates that you never knew before, because I've read more damn books on piracy than I ever wanted to in my entire lifetime, trying to piece together a factual story based on pirate lore. If you can see how difficult that would be for a writer, you can now piece it together in your brain. Everything we're going to be discussing about Anne Bonny at the next stop is come from at least 2 resources. So minimum of 2 resources. This took a lot of extensive research to make sure everything was coming up as true. Now, we're going to be getting more and more into, I know I said we're going to be seeing other tours and we don't see anybody down here. Has anybody seen or heard anything before we leave the space? Any letters come up that you've seen? No RI for us?
No.
Okay.
There's a number 25.
No. I'm going to write it down anyway just in case. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, look up.
Look up.
Also had twice, it said residential.
25, look up, residential.
And the house. Maybe they're saying residential area. Be careful.
Well,
Don't get in
I will
trouble.
also tell you that the term, the name Thomas and the word Rose will show up here. 59 Church Street, where the doctor stayed, is actually known to us here in Charleston as the Thomas Rose House. So again, those terms actually show up quite often here. It's almost like he's giving us a clue because he couldn't find the number 59 to tell us where he actually lived. So, Robyn, did you hear anything else? I don't mean to interrupt, but you're like the last person on there.
No.
You've had a steady 15. I don't know what that means. Because it's 15, it's probably coming from a building. Again, that's a rhythm, even though it's just staying on.
Yeah,
Natalie,
I'm.
Natalie, you got anything going on?
I mean, it's gone up and down a little bit, but not much.
How much are we talking? A little bit.
I forget what to
Hmm?
Heard some nice rap music for a second.
There's no such thing.
We're getting some rapper ghosts. They keep
There's
getting
no.
shot already.
John, don't fall down.
Staircase, be careful.
Like that's definitive.
I didn't hear it so clearly, but I thought about it. I was like, is there something? Nah, it wasn't like that. It's more like really good question. Off the next thing. But it was the full name. It wasn't just one.
Area where we're not supposed to have anything. If you're not getting anything higher than that, you can go ahead and get up off your feet there. It's not a, I know where I'm in. Yeah, it's not a good position to be in. So I get very excited when I obviously hear the names Benjamin and John coming out of you guys. I'm going to write it down, but I don't know if there's a Carol on the list. Every once in a while we'll get a third name. The name is Jane. That's a third person out of that 1801 roster. 3 out of 5 isn't too shabby. The name Jane is not very commonly heard, so you would think plain Jane, we will hear it all the time, but on a radio station, it doesn't show up all the time. The other history about this space that we'll get clues to, the reason why it's called Lodge Alley, this is where the Freemasons had their Masonic lodge. So we will get terms wrapped around the Freemasons. On the red spirit boxes that with the earbuds, we will get the term Illuminati as you guys are walking into the alley before you know that there's anything dealing with Freemasons here. And yes, it's funny because who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? That's the first clue. Second, why are we only hearing it in this space? 6 times last year, 3 times so far this year. I verified all 9. Just to make sure, because when somebody says Illuminati and they're laughing about it, I'm turning around, I'm like, are you serious? So I'm literally writing down the time because it's such an odd term to hear on the radio. Something you definitely want to verify. We've also gotten other terms like symbols, Freemason, Mason, Founding Fathers. The phrase will come through a spirit box. Like, we get a lot of things wrapped around the Freemasons. We don't spend a lot of time here because, again, this is a residual ghost and it happens every 6 to 7 weeks. We're in week 7, so again, I kind of stall a little bit just to get us some more, media, so that way we have more to go through. We're going to go to another alley from here. The weird thing about that alley is I can't take you all the way through it like what we're doing now. I've been kicked out. You guys have all my blinky lights and noisemakers, and it is considered residential at the end where we're not allowed to be, but I got caught early stages of my career doing tours. But we're going to stick to one side and start staying out of the way of the other tours. We're going to start getting into those busier areas that I talked about. Do you have any letters showing up at all? Yep, nothing. So, with that said, for those of you recording video, as we exit, please stop your video because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to fit. Like there's a lot of little pieces that are like great starter pieces. We have some clues that are definitive, that are relative to other pieces. Go ahead and reset. Just to make sure, you always want to reset, just to clarify it. We did get up to a 9.5 milligauss on that reading. And Natalie's holding. I like to explain what those readings mean first, so that way you kind of get the gist of why we're doing this. That measures electricity inside the air. So if you were to put that device, the one that Natalie has, behind your TV set, it's going to read about 40 to 60 milligauss. We got to a 9.5 in a space where there's no electricity. And she looks like she's getting a little bit of motion. She's being pretty still.
It went up to an 11.
Okay, so we had up to an 11. We're in a space where there's no electricity. If you were to actually put that device next to a microwave that's running on high, I'm waiting for it to go higher than green, by the way, before I make it a big deal. That device is going to read about 150 to 170 milligauss. Like, that's pretty high readings. The highest I've ever seen that device go has been in this space at 214 milligauss. Those are dangerous levels. It's like putting your head inside the running microwave. I'm a guy with seizures. We left. Like, it's that dangerous. That's part of the reason why I give those heated warnings at the beginning. So we did get a 9.5. The average spike for this location is about 18 to 22. That is very high for most of our other places that we're going to later on. So hopefully Natalie doesn't get too excited when she starts seeing 9 again. So we did get up to 11. Remember, kind of remind me to write that number down as we're walking up to our next space. So we did get a couple of things that actually make complete sense. We got how Eliza died. So Anna, what was the word of how she died?
Cancer.
We did get cancer. She did die of breast cancer. So I'm going to go through all of these answers specifically. We did get the president. That was the pallbearer. What was that answer? First president, George Washington. So again, I'm going to be going through all of these. We got a lot of other things, and I'll remember what they were as I kind of go through the answers. So I just wanted to kind of give you some of the big pointers of like these are big deals.
This is red.
Let's see. I always like to show you a mugshot of who you're trying to hunt down, so that way you know who you're trying to contact. This is Eliza Lucas Pinckney. So notice I specified her maiden name being Lucas. Remember that this is the second wife named Eliza. The first wife was named Eliza Lamb Pinckney, spelled just like the animal, L-A-M-B. This wife, Eliza Lucas, was 22 when she married Charles, who was 45. So remember, there was a big age gap between the two of them. It's better than 12 and 25. We'll definitely take 22 and 45. So again, you got to kind of take things in stride. As far as what happened to the mansion, we did get the word fire. This is the only picture of the mansion that we have. This is after the Great Fire of 1861. This happened on December 11th. Last night we had the word December show up and the number 11. So we had two numbers out of the full date. We did get the word fire tonight. I don't know if the rest of the date is going to actually come up. So every tour that you're going to take in town is going to talk about some kind of fire. We've had dozens. Let me show you how big this fire was. Not to say, like, I like bragging and say, mine's the biggest, but mine's the biggest. This is one of the biggest ones we've ever had. Obviously, this is a map of Charleston. You're standing on the green dot. The orange is the fire. This is $5 to $9 million worth of damage. So the green dot where you're standing is right on the right-hand side of this map on your side. But again, huge fire. Ooh. Basically what happened was some homeless folks were trying to stay warm up where the Harris Teeter grocery store is standing right now. It got out of control, came down here, did a little bit of damage that I just showed you, and actually went to the other side of the peninsula. It actually went west. So, if we're thinking of it in that sense. We did get the word west that just showed up just before we came over here. So, again, a little bit, we did get the word fire, and you had west. So that is the direction that it did go in. So, very interesting. I don't think I've ever had that actually pop up before, and it just clicked in my brain. Who had the question about the kids? Was that you guys over here? How many kids there were? So, there were 4 children total. Charles, you already know about. He signed the Constitution, right? Kind of boring. He signed his name. He did all kinds of other things, but that's his most prominent thing. The next child is Thomas. He fought in a Revolutionary War battle, the Battle of Camden, just southwest of here in South Carolina. He was shot in his left leg and captured by the British. When he was released from the British, he was left on a cane the rest of his days. Now, we didn't get anything relative to Thomas specifically. I'm just kind of giving you the clues I normally see. The next child is Baby George. This is the one I asked y'all not to poke the bear with. Baby George, you can already see where this one's going too, by the way, doesn't have a grave or a headstone. Possibility of the family mummifying the baby and keeping him here, wrapped in the home, waiting for his mother to pass, is highly likely. So it was just a common practice to basically bury an infant, obviously a dead infant, to the mother. So that's just kind of the way things go. Kind of a creepy thought that there would have been a mummified baby right here in the home. Can't prove any of that because it's one of those pieces where it's a very private family matter, and you can't Google mummy baby anyway and not expect a phone call from somebody. So just kind of keep that in the back of your brain for those of you with the wheels spinning, like I'm going to find out. The last child, her name was Harriet, the only daughter. She married Daniel Ory. Myrtle Beach is Ory County, so that should kind of give you an idea of where she lived, 2.5 hours north of here. So wouldn't have been a 2.5-hour car ride for Eliza. Lots of letter writing. In the event we hear from Harriet, lots of terms like quill, ink, paper, anything relative to lettering. It's normally what happens with her. It's very seldom, but it does occur. Eliza's death, we already have a lot of those answers already, but I'm going to kind of go through the spout of that. She was 70 years old when she passed away in 1793. We did get the number 93 in a scramble of other numbers. It's a bit of a stretch, but again, it's still going to be in your notes because I wrote down all the digits. She died from breast cancer, that, like I just told you, but it's 1793. We don't even know what breast cancer is fully at the moment. We are going based off of her medical records today, so just kind of keep that in the back of your brains. She was going to Philadelphia getting treatment for whatever they thought she had. She died in Philadelphia. She's buried in Philadelphia. So what the heck are we doing here if she's buried in Philadelphia? None of you are going to hang out near your grave when you're gone, which is why I don't take you to actual cemeteries. You're going to go to your mansions 400 miles away. I carefully chose these locations that we go to, and sometimes we have to go off the beaten path based on what you guys are hearing, because it's Charleston. There's chock full of history everywhere. But again, a lot of people ask me, how many cemeteries we going to? None. We may visit one just so I can show you what goes on in there, but it's more than likely a none. We are going to spaces just like this where there's actual history and raised emotion going on. The other question is Baby George. If my theory is true, like the thing is just like you're getting Morse code out of it back there.
Mine's going crazy too. I just can't understand.
Can't understand it. If my theory is true about George, they would have transferred that mummy baby from here all the way to Philadelphia by horse and carriage. That's a long trek. I don't even want to know how many days that is, and most of you are probably old enough to remember Oregon Trail. So it's going on one of those dysentery, long visits, right? So this space is an intelligence ghost. Oh, by the way, we got the answer for who the president was, obviously the pallbearer, but normally when we don't have a clue to it, I throw that question back to you like, hey, who wants to take a guess at who the pallbearer was? Only because most people can't answer, and it's usually a good thing, because when we got here, I told y'all I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. I put George Washington subliminally in the back of all of your brains on purpose, waiting to see who's going to give me the first, George Washington out of their mouth, even though they didn't hear anything specific to it. Well, we didn't get the opportunity, so I'm still going to count this as a passing with a fail. So good job on all of you, but we did get the answer of first. And that was almost a direct answer because you were asking about who the president was. So we're going to take that as a direct answer. That's good, positive stuff. But this is an intelligent ghost. We can ask questions, hopefully get answers out of it. The next space is not that way. It's a residual ghost. You got to think of this as kind of a ghost hunting 101 crash course. You're going to be seeing a lot of little tiny tidbits of a lot of everything. With that, the residual ghost works a lot differently than this. Here's how this is going to go. Go ahead and stop the filming on both of your, looks like yours is already good to go.
This one, okay.
Yeah, just tap it real quick.
Cancer, that's important.
I still don't know what do I need to listen to?
You need to ask questions.
Keep it playing.
Oh, here you go.
Alright guys, how's it going over here?
I hear radio.
Yeah, and you're going to hear radio. Remember,
Okay.
it's the song lyrics and DJs.
It's got
Cancer.
cancer and some
That's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
and
That's
some very
actually how Eliza died.
Uh-huh.
really.
So when I want to see the word list, you just hit this little white box right here, and then you
okay.
can scroll through all of them.
Okay.
Everything we've had so
We
far.
had
Uh-huh.
View was there for a while. View
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Instruct
Well,
something like
right when we got here, out was the
out
word.
came out.
Get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, out. All right.
Also, it said
After-
Isla, like IFLA.
Isla, yeah.
It's close to Eliza. Oh,
It's kind of a stretch.
maybe.
I do like the fact that we have cancer on there, so that's actually a good thing. Name out cockroaches. That's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
the
was
only term so
cockroaches
far that I
was
see. And then you just hit this
over
little
there.
button up here in the
Okay.
top right,
Yeah.
and that's it. Two simple buttons.
All right.
Have you-
Cockroaches was near the horse farm. Maybe they're warning us
It may have
don't
been.
go in there.
Have you unmuted yet?
Yeah, I have, and
Okay.
the only thing I recognized was an Ozzy Osbourne guitar thing.
I heard like always or something. There's one word that kind of came through,
Always.
but I
Remember,
didn't.
you're listening for those song lyrics and DJs. So the fact that you heard radio, that's basically what you're listening for. So again, your device is only going to give us like 10 to 15 words at the whole night. So because it's taking out some of the white noise that he's hearing, it's not going to give you all the mess that he's got going on.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to be giving me more. The fact that you're not getting much right now, it's almost a good sign. So we're going to take it as that. So have you heard anybody say anything yet? Okay.
Well, he needs to ask them questions.
Okay. Well, ask some more questions.
Yeah.
You guys obviously have
What do I
death
need to
questions.
ask again? What are the questions?
Anything that happened with her death. So
Okay.
how did she die? We have the answer. She gave us the word
Yeah.
cancer. How old she was, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So these are all very specific questions. So we already have one. Let's see if we can get some more
Get
out
some
of this
others.
group. That'd be
Okay.
actually really cool.
Help me out.
Yeah, let me help you out here.
Well, this is not the microphone, so say it.
Yeah, just here. Center in the corner up there, next to the left. Maybe.
You turn it up a little.
Sorry, all the way
Who was
up.
the pallbearer
Okay,
bearer
now-
at your death?
You need to ask questions, right?
Pallbearer.
Who was the pallbearer
pallbearer
at your funeral? Or was it wedding? Funeral? What is a pallbearer, first of all? The whole thing.
It was Click.
just practice, and then I heard some piano. Did she play the piano?
Well,
Well,
how many
Eliza,
children? Ask again.
Are there any other spirits?
Did you play the
around
piano?
us, people that we may know? Some old family members or something?
She might have. That's what I heard.
Who are they?
Say it again.
Since you're not gonna
Did
tell
you
us.
play the piano?
How many children did you have, Eliza? Eliza, how many children did you have?
What the question you need to ask again, Ben? How old?
How old are you? Or how did you die?
Eliza, how old are you?
Yes, yeah.
Any clues? How did you die? Cancer?
Eliza, how many children did you have?
And that's the dream.
Eliza, how many children did you have?
Have you ever met a president in death or in life?
Eliza, who is the pallbearer at the funeral? Holding on. Pallbearer's still alive. He was holding on.
How old are you?
Eliza, how old are you?
Not sure on that one.
You want me to film, Ben, and you hold us for a minute?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to listen to.
Okay.
Yeah, I filmed for a minute. I don't know what to listen to.
Okay.
I got it. I just go around it.
Exposure to like. How old are you? Somewhere.
Do we need to go back over there or what?
I heard yes. Eliza, how old are you?
Are you old or young?
Now that we have a better gist of how to listen to these things.
I gave it to Ben. Ben has a better ear.
Not so sure about the age. Didn't hear anything about that.
Okay. Have you heard anything at all that you can make out?
Yeah, a few words like
Like
practice.
Okay.
And I heard some piano. I don't know. I was like, did you play the piano? But yeah, no answer on that.
Okay.
Anna got worse. Well, I didn't get it. She got exposure.
Exposure, restriction.
All very vague.
Yeah.
So let's pull up the word list. Let me take a look at it again to kind of see where we're at.
Yeah.
It dropped your last one too. Did it come out of this one or came out of another one? Very good. And Adam, like names and numbers usually don't lie. We're near Big John, so I'll be looking to see if there was an Adam, and if we have his jersey number or something relative to Adam while we're there. Again, I don't know everything. I'm not Google. So you guys, when I get to learn something new and continue research, that's what makes this fun for me. Because again, I see a lot of the common things that pop up. Obviously, the cancer I knew about right away. But I like when it's like, oh, who the hell's Adam? Let me see if there was an Adam on the team. What was his jersey number? Did that show up somewhere else? You know, that kind of mentality.
Okay.
So are we still recording on your end? Yep, I see a red dot, so you're good. But continue listening. I'm going to basically kind of give us like another few minutes because everybody's kind of getting used to how to listen to these. But this is a great practice spot because it is so active. So we will get a lot of answers out of this. And we already have a lot because Robyn actually has quite a bit.
I heard a couple times. They just said Bible and there's something about God earlier. I don't know.
They were very religious. So
yeah,
it's no, definitely not. Definitely not blonde.
There's one about heaven too. I heard like heaven, God, Bible, a lot of those things.
Yeah,
Hey,
again, lots of
This thing just went. I heard it all the way. See, yes, all those ways.
Bless you.
Sunday, what do you hear, man?
You ran the words here.
Writing the next letter, I'm sure you noticed that.
Yeah.
So that way we're not seeing a scramble from the previous string.
Feel bad like that too. Feel bad.
Skeleton.
Yeah, I did hear a lot about like heaven, God,
Having exposure as
stuff
well.
like that. Bible, they just said Bible.
I'm here again.
Spelling in here a little, start really good a little bit.
A little bit.
Had Eliza scrambled, but you bless you.
It's hard for me to make this small
As you will call his something.
Anything else coming out of your spirit box? Any other readings that you did? Slowing down.
Because we can move it around.
Spirit.
Spirit. I heard spirit too.
Yeah.
With the dirt.
So you have to remember that.
Yeah.
Something spirit, right?
Eliza, how old are you?
Is there a spirit here? They say no.
Steps, what?
Eliza, how old are you?
Anything else coming out of yours?
I'm getting like lips of stuff, but nothing that I got.
That theme.
Ben, you got anything else?
Just spirit. We heard the word spirit.
Take spirit. We're definitely near a bar still. All right, let's go back to the back. I'm going to start giving you guys the answers. Like, we have a lot to do already.
We're surrounded, Jesus says too.
You're surrounded?
Yeah.
Huh.
All right, so space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for a few hours, at least that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. I can promise you that. Indigo is a plant that makes our blue jeans blue. It makes the blue dye for it. So Ben's actually wearing it right now. So I think he's in a weird light. But anyway, that's kind of the example I like to give. But at any rate, Eliza didn't know what to do with these seeds when she got them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here. So when she figured it out, she actually moved it to a cash crop plantation just south of here, gets a hold of her father and says the rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So that's the boring stuff. By the way, an international businesswoman in colonial times is something absolutely unheard of, especially for the time frame. So let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why everybody's here, right? You guys are waiting for all this weird history. So I usually like to kind of go through each spirit box and give you a series of questions to focus on. If you want to cherry pick from whatever else I gave somebody else, by all means do so. But with the Ouija board back there, Ryan, I don't have anything for that guy yet. So you're going to be the cherry pickers.
It's
You
going
pick.
crazy right now.
What do you got going on? What letter?
No, it's just CGC.
A bunch of letters.
Yes.
Can you unscramble any of them to make a word? I'll take a look at it in a minute.
I'll
How about that?
study it.
I'm the English guy. I'll take a look at the word scramble. So,
We didn't start going off till we got over here.
okay, it's almost a good thing.
Mine was saying like S something when I was doing it.
With yours, Robyn, I want you to focus on Eliza's death. Anything you want to ask, how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and
pretty
which
close to
president was the
Eliza.
pallbearer at her funeral. Like, obviously, a lot of non-yes-no questions. So in the spirit box, you have a spirit box. So with yours being the new guy that I just put together, I want to try to keep things simple for you. I want to, just because I don't know what's going to come out of it yet. The mansion's not here anymore. Ask what happened to it. If you get an answer, when did that happen? We're obviously looking for a very specific date. We had 2 digits out of the full date of that last night, but we didn't have that third clue of like, hey, here's what actually happened. So it was exciting to get an exact date, but not the actual tragedy. So kind of toy around with it and see what you can get out of it. With yours, how many children Eliza had and what their names were. Do not ask anything else. The reason why there's a tragedy among the children. Do not poke the bear with this one. This is a very respectable family, and we'll know all activity will stop. Which, by the way, are we getting any readings out of yours at all? Both of you.
Did they say how many children she had?
Yeah. Okay, so you had about
And how old
10
she
to
was.
15. Have you had numbers?
Just slight.
Just
Not
like-
anything above.
Okay, nothing above 2.5 yet. With yours, Anna, your spirit box gives us a whole array of things. So I want you to focus on Eliza's maiden name. Here's the reason why. She's the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. The first wife, Eliza, dies in January of 1744. He marries the one we just spoke about in May, 5 months later. So first wife dies, 5 months later he's remarried. Both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So again, very interesting that I've gotten both maiden names here, but maybe try to get Eliza's birthday out of her too. That might be a good one for your spirit box. I haven't tried that one with that one in a while. We'll see what goes on there. With yours, Michael, trying to think. What else do I want to go after? I want you to kind of, was something out of that mess kind of, because I think I handed them all out. We have this new extra spirit box in here, so I kind of got things a little bit scrambled. Is anything like really picture fancy?
I had it turned down so I can listen to you.
But did you find any questions that you really wanted to know the answer to? Maybe we'll stick with Eliza's death out of your group too. So how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer. So kind of go after, things wrapped around her death specifically, so that way we have both types of spirit boxes doing the exact same thing. So we'll kind of do that. So again, more experimentations. So your video is already recording, which is good. So Dancie, go ahead and hit that orange circle if it's not already been hit. But yeah, we're going to spread out. I am going to be keeping Natalie behind so I can show her more about that motion sensor. And then I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you trying to take notes. We are not going to go in between vehicles. I know there's a lot of cars in here tonight. It kind of limits our space, but there are some little tiny tucked corners that we might be able to hang out in and kind of see what's going on. So let's spread out a little bit, and I'll be with all of you in a minute, but I'm going to keep Natalie behind.
Where am I taking out?
You guys want to go check that corner over there or what?
Maiden name and
Something with
birthday.
L right here from the other.
What's your maiden name and birthday? And I got the word
Mom got
bathroom.
the words like responsibility.
Well, I got
and
bathroom right now.
What I need to say, what I need to listen to? I wish I would
here's a little empty space right here. Let's
Why? You want to swallow?
I'm glad I got one with words. That was good. Not sound. I'd rather have words.
Oh,
What to do with this thing?
What not? What did I ask?
I don't know.
I don't know. Can I unmute it? How many children?
For maiden name.
Well, don't push button and say someone.
you have to try to ask her.
What did they ask like them?
How old are you?
How old are you? Elizabeth, how old are you?
Eliza.
Oh. Eliza, how old are you? Say the whole name. Eliza, how many children did you have?
Mom got Isla earlier, ISLA, on her thing.
You. Now it says you.
Eliza. I'm just listening to you.
Is it really you? Up 18. Are we really talking to someone?
Excellent, listen to you.
I have to do this.
Eliza, how many children did you have?
Actually, let's walk over here. over there?
Anything? 104.
I saw some little orbs over there floating in there. Some orbs.
On the camera?
Yeah, but it might have been the lights from over there. Kind of.
I don't know what I need to ask. Listen to me.
I just asked, like,
What I need to ask?
how old are you?
How old are you?
Eliza, how old are you?
Eliza, how old are you?
What are you going to
You.
Mom, you need to open your eyes. You need to view. What is the other question they... what was the other
Look for a
question?
number.
Her maiden name.
Mom,
And
look for a number.
how old
She's
is she?
400.
And
You gotta ask, what is your maiden name?
I did.
Yeah. Ask Eliza, what is your maiden name? Eliza, what's your maiden name?
She's like, not important to tell you.
Let's see what the next word is.
It's been on view for a while now. Probably.
Well, Vinny, you gotta record.
Okay, now we got
Eliza, how old are you?
Now we got instruct.
Tell us. Instruct us.
Instruct us on what we need
Eliza,
to know.
how many children did you have?
Eliza doesn't want to talk to us.
Eliza, how many children did you have?
Like, I can't talk to other people.
Or like always.
What?
Always. You said like always or something.
What?
Eliza, how old are you? She said, I don't care.
All I hear is radio.
Hold on, there's a car.
All I hear is radio. You wouldn't listen to this?
Well, it's the same thing, Michelle.
Yeah, but you know other frequencies.
Any other words yet? She said earlier, outs.
Yeah. Right when we first got here.
Tell me to.
She.
Say it again.
Eliza, how many children do you have?
Smells like the trash can here, Eliza.
Well, there's yeah, the other one.
What?
We're going to ask
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go with
See, she said clear. Good idea. She said clear the trash can.
Eliza, how old are you?
Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. And one night, two guys came in. They weren't old enough to drink, so they had the bartender throw them out. They left pretty angry. They came back the next night, and they tried to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on. He slammed down his beer, and he goes over and he just starts pounding on these guys, beating the hell out of them. Well, a couple of gunshots went off. John got grazed in the neck, and the bullet landed behind him in the wall. He gets up after being the only one that's been shot, goes back to the bar, tells the bartender, get him another beer, gets the two guys on the floor in ambulance. Normally, if I tell you a building is haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that may have occurred there. It's not the case here. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if it's not, this new renovation of Big John's would have filled in that bullet hole and sealed Big John's blood inside the wall. People that sit in front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache, which is exactly why we start here. This is kind of a heated warning. We're seeking out paranormal activity tonight, and I don't know how it's going to affect any of you. If anybody feels any of those symptoms, I'm always going to blame our weird weather first, especially if you're not from here, just because not everything is going to be paranormal. I'm not that guy, and I'm definitely not a TV show host. So, but I still need to know so we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair? It's probably the scariest thing I'm going to tell you all night long, just so you guys know when it deals with your own health. So, You guys been taking other ghost tours around town or other history tours, anything?
Nope.
Wow, nothing at all? Holy cow. So I can lie to you all night long?
We have
Okay.
visited sites.
Fair enough.
We went to the
Well, if you've taken any other type of tour in town, you should already know that we had a big earthquake here in 1886. So if you didn't know that, you do now. The reason I bring it up is because it's an anomaly for South Carolina. We're supposed to have hurricanes, not earthquakes. But the building, Big John's, is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. A piece of the white mantle you see in the middle of the building broke off in the front on East Bay Street and apparently struck somebody in the back of the head, killed him, and the previous owner of this bar said he used to see dark shadows after closing in the middle of East Bay Street. Now, I say allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it back up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go learn more about these devices. We're actually going to go this way.
This started recording again, is that?
Yeah, it's going to make a new file every 10 minutes
every
or so.
time. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yeah, the GoPro file.
So I just leave it on and it'll keep recording.
Yeah, I'll let you know when we're going to kind of cue it off.
Okay. Where is the stop button on here?
It is on top
the
of the
top,
camera.
I think.
No,
Okay.
right. It's all the way to the right.
Okay.
So, I don't like to interrupt whatever the cops are doing, so we're going to stop here. So, every once in a while we'll get some cops in there, and it's almost like they're looking for somebody or waiting for somebody. So, it's more like just a quick stop anyway, just to kind of give everybody a better gist of what goes on and, you know, how to use your equipment. So, first off, those of you with cameras, we will be in spaces where there's cars and people walking by. People do not like their cars to be filmed, taken pictures of, and they definitely do not like to be filmed themselves. So, Ryan, you probably were the wrong person to give that to because you're like way up here, like, look, I'm a YouTuber. I got this. Got the best view of all.
What the hell I'm looking at? You're looking
Okay,
at.
we're going to get you down there. So this is the big red barn. This is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. So the history here is really, really simple, by the way, and I made it that way on purpose so we can be brief with your devices so that way we can deep dive into some of the history, right? So this is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Keywords here are going to be delivery, milk, eggs, anything relative to a sleep. So kind of get the gist of those for your spirit boxes. Those of you with a communication device, and that does include the digital Ouija board, what's the first question everybody wants to ask a Ouija board or a spirit box? What do you think? Is there anybody here? Right. So in the event, Amy, right? Let's say Amy hears the answer of no. That means somebody's here. So is anybody here? She hears no, that means somebody's here, right? They're lying to us. So we are not going to be asking yes/no questions all night long. So all of your TV shows, you're all going to laugh at them because that's the first thing to start off with every episode, just so you guys know. But we're going to be going after some of the details. When teaching people how to use these kind of devices, it's a matter of asking questions you already know the answer to kind of get you used to how to listen to it. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. So most of you are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us. The color red might not be available to relay as a message, but fire truck, blood, heart, those three things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the big red barn? She hears blood. I'm good with that. However, most of the night, you guys have all my gear out tonight except for laser lights. So we're going to talk about those later on. Lasers get Nick in trouble if we don't use them properly. But at the same time, it's a matter of those. I'm going to require that there's at least two things going on with your devices. Again, everything is out. Something else should be happening if somebody else has a partial phrase. Let's kind of give you another example. Anna, right? Yes. Let's say Anna's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything to us over here by itself. Michael?
Yes.
Right? So let's say Michael here's the number 40. Together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You guys see where this is more about putting clues together like an escape room than it is so much a ghost tour? So again, we're going to be working together, but I'm going to be kind of the gatekeeper. I'm going to be keeping track of almost everything that's going on so that way I can kind of piece it all together for you. So that's why you guys keep me around to kind of think outside the box. So cameras, again, you guys kind of have the gist of like the rules of how to do this. I like how you switched it up. Give it to the shortest person on the tour now. Nice. So with that, Dancie, you're going to try to do two things for us. You're going to try to keep one of us in view at all times.
Yes,
The reason for that, I know I said don't film other people because they didn't pay to get filmed. We all did. But the reason why is we're going to be the warmest thing out here. Much easier to find a cold spot when you have a hot spot. So kind of keep that in mind. The other piece is keep the sky out if you can. Some places that's going to be impossible. The reason I ask you to do that is because the blue dot bouncing around the sky defaults to the sky because there's no surface. So that way we can actually find a cold spot on surfaces rather than trying to look at the sky that's going to say 30 degrees and we're going to get excited, and it's not really that exciting. Your ambient temperature tonight is about 69 to 70 degrees. I will be looking for anything 15 plus degrees lower than that as part of an anomaly when I'm going through your video. So it's normally 15 degrees or more. So at 69 degrees, we're looking at 54 and below. It's usually the marker for that. So Ben, with your camera, nice and easy. Nice slow movements, the slower the better. When we capture orbs on that thing, which we do quite often, like it's normally not from a fast moving video. Like it's the slower you can move, the better.
Okay.
So you already kind of know the rules on that one. Everybody else, I think you're kind of getting the gist of how your devices work. I am going to be working with Natalie once we get to past this space, and after I give you the history of the next location, we kind of spread out. So again, that one I like to show you like in real time because it is a little bit more complicated. So I say we get away from football players and ponies. Is everybody ready for some real history now that you're trained and ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we're going to get ourselves into tonight.
Nice and slow, Ben. Yeah. Don't drop the thing, Alexander. What do you see, Ben?
Not a whole lot, yeah.
This is what you're born with. Take
I know.
pictures.
Really? I'm a born cameraman.
So, any other questions you might have in your head that I didn't already answer about your devices before I get started with our location?
I'm not totally sure whether I should be listening to your
Song lyrics, DJs, commercials. Whatever voices you hear come through, for example, and I'm sorry I didn't maybe explain this a little bit further, if you hear a DJ say, "Welcome to Charleston," you know, buy a Kia today, those are the types of things I want you to tell me, because welcome and buy might actually mean something very specific to the location.
Okay.
If you hear a song lyric like "Drop it like it's hot," might actually mean that there was a fire in that location.
Okay.
So that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. Very beginner methods. So most people that I deal with have
Pretty good
never
message.
touched anything
Yeah.
like this before, so I make it as simple as I possibly can. So good question. Are there any other questions about your devices? Perfect. Welcome to a parking lot. You made it. So congratulations. Told you I'm taking you to weird spaces. So first off, all of those with cameras, we are in space obviously with lots of vehicles, so we don't want to be filming people going to the vehicle, taking pictures of vehicles, those kind of mentalities. We're all responsible, right? Good. Let's move on. It's like me, not me over here. I'm going to film every car. I see you giggling back there.
I was filming everybody's spirits around.
Everybody's spirits? So, what is this place? This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street, where all those cars were parked. Eliza's garden was lined up with 5 Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So those of you with communication devices, by the way, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes, and I'm going to withhold information on purpose. But remember, I can prove all of it. So kind of keep that in the back of your brain. I'm not here to make shit up like Zach Bagans. So if you know that is, go ahead and chuckle. It's funny. Now, who the heck were Charles and Eliza? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. Do you see why we look for secondary clues at this point? We need to know which Chuck we're chatting with. So, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. So, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about Eliza, right? It's all about mostly going to be about females tonight, so if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry, but we have a lot of heroines in this town. Eliza. She married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to get numbers like 12 and 14, like the colonial times that she came from. You think of today's standards. The only reason I bring that up is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age when they married. So it's kind of a creepy age gap back in the 1700s, definitely a creepy age gap now. So kind of keep that in the back of all of your brains. But she married him because her father was over in England and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he can see them. But Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she got married in 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card. We're not even a country yet. She did marry him out of love. And there was no foul play, so you don't need to ask any of those questions. She did remain a widow after his death. We won't get into that right now. But she was correct. Her father did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending... They're both going to go to YouTube, so I will splice them together. We're going to do a few starts and stops with this guy as well. This guy's a lot of fun. However, it's not always the most exciting job, but it is, when we capture something, it is a holy cow moment. It's the same thing with both cameras. So, with that one, Ben, I think this one's going to go to you. Where was Ben? Yeah. I remember the name Ben, so I'm going to go with a name I remember. Perfect.
Don't drop it, Ben.
Yeah, I know.
Spirit boxes. We're going to be using a lot of different types of communication devices tonight, spirit boxes being the main type. Every one of the spirit boxes that I use, except for, this guy, because I do have a twin of it, they all do something a little bit different. So let me kind of go through how spirit boxes work. If you're unfamiliar with a spirit box because you don't watch the TV shows or the YouTube videos and all of that, it's basically the white noise that you would hear, and then you're waiting for some kind of message to come through. So through a disembodied voice. So with that said, this one, well, your host, by the way, on your TV shows will try to convince you of what he heard, because most of the time you're like, what the hell did he think that said? Yeah, it's the same principle. We're going to be doing that in real time. However, these are slowed down. I did that on purpose because it is a beginner method of how to use a spirit box. Slowing them down allows them to bring through the radio chatter. So the song lyrics, the commercials, the DJs. It's a 50-50 shot. If we can make out what a DJ is saying, we can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. There's a lot of you here tonight. Hopefully somebody brought somebody with them. It actually happened to us on just the other night with a much smaller group. It was very, very interesting. The cool thing about this particular spirit box is it's going to record the entire session, even though Robyn is going to be the only person to hear this in real time. So she's going to have an earbud in. She's like, yeah, cool. So with that earbud, I'm going to be spot checking this when I get the recording back tomorrow morning to kind of give you guys a few notes. Even if things aren't relevant, it kind of teaches you how to listen to this type of recording. But I will be writing down everything that you hear that's relevant to our spaces in real time. I keep a little notebook with me. Earwax is gross. You get to keep those. I don't want them back. Your volume button is a wheel at the top. I'm just making sure it's turned all the way down, kind of get a feel for it. The button will shut it off, so be careful not to hit the button. Look for the wheel. I do use two of these. This one, however, does not record. So, Michael, I think I'm going to give this one over to you.
Okay.
I'm going to be relying on you and whatever you hear in real time, so that way I can write it down for the entire group. And again, they do have an extra earbud, so if you want to share that extra earbud with another person, you can do that as well. So yours is already sweeping. Again, earwax is gross. Yours is the wheel, much easier to find on that specific one. I don't know why, but it is. So this device right here is brand new to the market. They literally just invented this less than 6 months ago. You probably haven't even seen these on the TV shows yet, but this is called an envoy. I like to refer to it as a digital Ouija board. So what is it doing is taking EMF spikes, just like it just did, and it is converting a cursor into a letter. And we're hopefully going to be able to see words spelled out, initials given back to us, or an anagram of some sort for us to be able to unscramble. So this guy has been brand new. I've had it for less than a month now. We've been getting some few things out of it here and there, very interesting pieces. But we're basically teaching the ghost how to use this guy as well, because it is very difficult. So with this one, Dancie, I think I'll go with you on this one.
Oh, good.
So you guys seem like you're already into the paranormal kind of thing, and I thought you might want to experiment with something that's brand new to the market. So this next one, we don't actually have to listen to this one. So basically this one's going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen, just like an obelisk would if you watch the TV shows. So the words that are going to be saved on the screen actually go to a full list with timestamps. That's the nice thing about this guy. So I'm going to know exactly where we're at based on what term is shown up based on where we're going to be throughout the night. This is a phone app. I want you to all keep that in mind, and 80% of this is going to be bullshit. It's not going to mean anything. It's going to be the other 5 to 20% that's going to be relevant to our space, the person, one of us. So you're obviously going to get the full word list back because sometimes things are relevant to one of you and you just didn't want to share it with the group. So therefore it's a personal experience. I get a lot of text messages later that say, hey, those 3 words are relative to my grandma that I just lost. It happens all the time. So with that said, I'm losing names. Anna. One name I should never forget. So with that, I don't want to see every word. I will come to you when I want to see the word list.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Let's see.
What?
You can put, you want to put the pills in the car?
No, it's fine.
I'll hold your purse.
No, it's all good. It's not heavy.
I'm saying you put it in the car. You put the
Look there, don't move.
You like woods.
This one is brand new upgrade. Very interesting on how it works.
It's a pretty heavy
So
thing.
it's another spirit box, but it has an auto noise canceling device attached to the back of it. So what it's going to try to do is whenever Robyn is hearing all that white noise in between, it's going to try to get rid of that and only give you words. You might hear about 15 to 20 words total tonight. So it's not going to give you as much gobbledygook as say all of the other ones that we kind of have to sift through. Most of the time when we're using something like this, it is very distinct. Like it's usually really accurate. But this is a brand new upgrade that we're experimenting with. It also has earbuds that come along with it. Unfortunately, you won't be able to control the volume because it's already preset. You can't mute it and go up and down with it the way that the box is set up. So if you want to take an earbud out from time to time, not going to be offended. It is a lot to handle when these things are in your ears because there's no way to control the volume. So kind of get used to that guy. Again, earwax is gross. You get to hang on to those. You guys don't have nearly enough spirit boxes over there. So this guy, this one's a little crazy too. So this one is going to sweep through both the FM and AM radio stations at the same time, and also attempt to take out all of the white noise. Y'all hear that Ghostbuster theme? Yeah, that's somebody trying to call stories in the cemetery right now. That's the ringtone, so I know like it's one of those calls. So.
Mom got one word already golden.
So, who do I have left over here? Is it Alex?
Yep.
Alright, so Alex, you're going to get this guy. It is an open air. So the only thing you need to worry about is how to handle it and where the mute button is. It is on mute right now, obviously, because there's no sound coming out of it. But this is the top, so where the blinking lights are. Your mute button is the only button on the right-hand side. Okay. When I say it's safe to unmute, I'll let you unmute it. But we're going to be near Pony soon, so I want you to keep it on mute for just a little while. All right. So kind of hang on to that one. Let's see. Alright, you guys have all seen these on your TV shows, yes? So these are very, they're kind of a staple for all of your ghost hunting tours. This is an EMF meter, electromagnetic fields. So this is going to measure electricity in the air. I use this one to debunk a lot of things. So again, when I use them on TV, it's because they're super sensitive and it really looks like there's a ghost nearby. So I like to use them to debunk a lot of things and compare it to another digital one that we're going to pull out later on. Because this is such a simple job, you're going to actually have 2 jobs. Yes. Whitney, am I getting that right? Yeah. Look at me. All right. So, Whitney, you're going to have 2 jobs. Your next job is super simple as well. You're going to be double-fisted. You're going to be taking lots and lots of pictures for us. Okay. Just because we never know what's going to show up. There's no flash. So don't expect a flash. Be very still with each picture so they're actually pretty clear. And this one, you don't have to do anything besides let me know what colors you see. Okay. Very easy, right? She's like, I want something simpler.
No, I love what I have. Promise.
So this guy is definitely you're the last line. So you're gonna be my multitasker.
The resolution of the story.
Natalie, this guy is going to be doing the same thing that Whitney's is doing in a digital format. It goes way higher than her readings. She only goes to 25. Yours is spiked out 3 over 200. So I want to know everything above 2.5. That's our second green light. We're going to be doing a lot of debunking kind of as well. The bottom is ambient temperature. If Ryan finds something on his camera, you and I can prove it or debunk it with the ambient thermometer right here. We're going to go find the cold spot and see where it comes from. Last but not least, This is usually what everybody wants. It's the motion sensor. If anything comes near you or near the antenna, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it right now. I'm touching it now. There's different colors and different tones in there. We're going to talk more about those at our second stop when we start using it. For now, kind of get used to how those numbers work. All right, everybody's geared up, right?
Yep.
Who's in charge? We're going to put Ryan in charge. Go have fun. No, I'm kidding. Don't go anywhere. You guys emptied the bag, so thank you for that. That's a very big deal. It makes my job a whole lot easier. So, of course, we started here for a reason. I know you all have questions. Look at you, you're like ready to go. Look at her. She's like, I got this, let's go. So, see, I told you I cracked jokes on the way. We started here for a reason, but you guys are going to make me talk all night, so I'm going to take a quick drink before we get started on why we started here. So, Big John's Tavern. Of course, it's haunted. That's why we started here. That's why it was in your text message this morning. I wanted you to remember that name. We knew where to go and not go get drunk. So, and by the way, thank you for all showing up sober. That's a very big deal. I normally walk away if there's one person drunk. Just so you all know. You all got a very expensive equipment in your hands, so it's very much appreciated on a Saturday night, especially when I got 4 ladies in front of me. I never know what I'm getting. I told you all that earlier.
Good.
Did you say, wait, I am drunk? Like, hang on, stop, hold the phone, right? But, Big John's. This place used to be owned by a football player. His name is Big John Kennedy. Now, he played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of the building, I will do my best to slow down on specific keywords that we normally get at that location for your spirit boxes and communication devices. Anyway, here's why the place is haunted. He used to sit in the back of the bar, this side. He would basically